My name is Gunnery Sergeant DiGirolamo. Can you hear me? Yep, mic's on. I recently went to South by Southwest. Has anybody ever heard of South by Southwest? Has anyone ever attended? One? All right, we got one. So I didn't know about South by Southwest. My bosses came up to me and were like, hey, you're going to South by Southwest, get your DTS done, your travel system done. And I was like, South by Southwest. So I'm taking a flight with Southwest, and I'm going south to learn about peanuts and ergonomics of their seats. I had no idea. That's my level of ignorance with South by Southwest. And unfortunately, that was just my bad. But digging into it, doing my recon and researching, I figured out that this was a huge film, music, and interactive festival. And I was like, oh, cool, sweet. I'm going to have a fun time in the city of Austin. And then watching some YouTube bloggers and really diving into it, and I realized, whoa, this is really big. This is a lot bigger than I thought. So I was very ill prepared when I went down there to experience the event. So why am I talking about going to South by Southwest? Who am I? Who cares? My name is Gunnery Sergeant Joseph DiGirolamo, and I am the Chief of the Digital Engagement Team, and we work at the Pentagon for the Office of Marine Corps Communication. And our job is to, we control the flagship sites of the United States Marine Corps, and we speak on behalf of the Marine Corps and communicate that in the social spectrum. Now, my boss, I don't know if you ever heard of him, his name is Mr. Mark Fayloga. He's my director, and I ask you to laugh at my jokes. So instead of the content I'm showing you, and he's a really awesome boss, so if he's watching on Facebook Live right now, check that block. And I have a really awesome team of Marines, and they're very young and very eager to speak on behalf of the Marine Corps. And they work diligently every day to put out content to grab your attention. And I think, and I heard this today, giving someone your attention is the rarest, purest form of generosity, and I think that's true. I mean, we all have super busy lives, and a mother handling a job and a bunch of kids, or father, or just day-to-day grind, work, putting together a presentation for a social media workshop. We're all really busy. So, another question: do you guys anybody follow the Marines on social media? Here's my selfish plug. We'd come up here and I talk about exactly what we do every day and show you analytics and show you videos and stuff like that, but I wanted to do this a little bit differently and just provide some of the feedback, some of the stuff I learned at South by Southwest. So if you really want to know what we do, you can follow us on social media, or you can rewatch Clayton Filipovich's his little talk he had yesterday, because he copies a lot of stuff we do. I'm kidding. No. That was a really good, great presentation, and that's kind of the sort of the things that we talk about normally. So this is a visual representation of sort of all the panels I was exposed to while going to South by Southwest. There's, if you don't recognize some of that stuff up there, there's Kickstarter, Upworthy, Airbnb. There's some people I got to sit on, Mark Cuban, Gary Vaynerchuk, John Cena, which, John Cena was actually one of the best talkers out there. What a great guy, workaholic, but for all the right reasons. So this is what I was exposed to, a visual representation of all the panels I got to go to. And please, if you have questions during this presentation, don't hesitate to ask. Now, that's a visual representation that looks like a lot, but honestly, I'll be fair, I didn't even scratch the surface at South by Southwest. So, and I'm not officially endorsed by Southwest. I'm not talking on behalf of the government endorsing South by Southwest. But I encourage, if your commands are willing to pay for you to go down there for a week, and it's usually in March, go down there, have a blast, be prepared. Or if you want to just take leave and go, that's fine too. I suggest doing that. It's an awesome festival. So here's my next slide, and I know if I'm doing a presentation, I gotta you got to add graphs, right? That's important to PowerPoint. You got to have a graph. So here's my graph that I inserted into this presentation. This is just a visual representative of the hours I spent trying to learn about how to be social on the interwebs. So I thought I did a pretty good job. As any Marine, we're going to attack. We're going to assault the objective as best as possible, as fast as possible. So I went crazy and went to as many of those panels as I could in the short time I was there. But then I realized coming back that I had absolutely failed at being social, going to enjoying the nightlife, enjoying the film festivals and the music festivals. So if you do go next year, try to balance that out. I'm going to try to if I go next year, because I really failed in that department of being social. So this is a very long intro to South by Southwest, but bear with me. Now this next graph, because graphs are important. Actually, I forgot what this graph was about. Oh no, it's about memory retention. So I felt it was very important to get this information back as quickly as possible. Now I went March 10th to March 16th or 17th, and obviously it's been days, 10 or so days since I've been back. So it's vital that I get this information to you as quick as possible. So that's the good news is I went to a bunch of panels. The bad news is it's been several days since I've done that. So, but me and Sergeant Brian Nygaard, who's not here today, he came with me, and we wrote copious notes, and we have a lot of information. It was information overload, but I hope that I could just give you the wave tops. And at the end of this presentation, I'm not saying the stuff I'm presenting is, you know, if you're not doing this, you're not part of the cool kid club. My hope is to spark some ideas from you. Maybe you take back to your commands something. You could come up with one of the things I'm showing. You can implement a new idea, or maybe even submit a formal complaint about this presentation. At least there's some action on the objective after we're done with this presentation. So. All right, so this first part is for my who here is into the content management or editing business. Who here does that for their social platforms? Okay, so I don't think it's news to any of us, but 62% of people get their news from social media. Now that number, I'd ask you to fact check that number, especially in this age where fact checking is super important. But we can all agree on that a majority of people get their news from social media. So how does the Marine Corps do it, and what was I learning at South by Southwest that I could take back to you? Well, a lot of them are saying, hey, you know, social media is like, if you look at the food plate I created, it's an experience. It's an experience. It's like a full course meal. So if you're telling a story and you want to put it on your platforms, how are you doing it? Are you going live with Facebook at that event? Simultaneously, are you tweeting about what's important? And then are you putting your really rich content on Instagram, maybe doing Instagram Live with that? Are you Snapchatting maybe behind the scenes of that event? Are you encompassing the entire story, utilizing each platform the way they're designed to tell a full story, get a full course meal as you would? Or are you spamming your audience? And now I get hungry every once in a while, and I guess I could eat some spam, but I don't want to. It's not going to satisfy my hunger. So the Marines, we do a good job at. I'm not saying we're Chef Ramsay when it comes to social media, but we do a good job at using the social media platforms the way they're designed to tell a story, and then trying to incorporate all of them together so that you can get a full story if you went to each platform. So yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk, has anybody ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? So yeah, his big takeaway, what experience can you give them on those platforms? And you know, I really took that into account. So coming back, I encourage you to, when you're managing your content, like, are you really maximizing it for the platforms that you're using? Or are you just throwing it up there? And in social media, obviously, I'm probably preaching to the choir, is is a way to engage with your audience. It's not just to plaster content up there for them to absorb. And then I thought John Cena's quote here was extremely important. Sometimes we have to go outside the arena to bring people inside the arena. Now, what does that mean? Has anybody heard the term echo chamber? Echo chamber? So if you like, we're competing, the average person has like 400 liked pages. And if it's the stuff that you're interested in, the stuff that you like, and it's the stuff that's your opinions, and if it's the stuff that makes you feel good, and that's all you see every day on your social media, you basically build yourself an echo chamber. And I think in the military, I definitely put myself in an echo chamber. And I thought it was really valuable going to South by Southwest and seeing what these professionals are doing every day, and going outside, not just paying attention what the flagship social sites for the Army or Navy or Air Force are doing, or Coast Guard, but just figuring out what these other companies are doing, how they're selling their message, and how they're getting people to follow their pages. And so going beyond what you like, figuring out what's successful out there. Is sometimes you have to jump outside the box, and that comes to content creation as well. Sometimes the normal isn't normal. You want to grab someone's attention, do something that's not normal, something that's risky. That's a good ringtone. So no, but I thought John Cena was a very good speaker, and I'm glad I got to sit in on what he was saying. And I think this final point is kind of how we drive our Marines. It's kind of the test of when we make content or managing content. If we pull something from the fleet or we create it ourselves, we ask them, are you actually going to watch this yourself? Is this something that you want to watch? Or are we just posting it just to post it? And I think that's a great test to ask the people that's managing your content. Are you going to watch it? Are you proud of this? Or are you assuming some hypothetical audience is going to watch it? Now, I think this is, again, I've said this before, engaging with your audience is extremely important, but I learned, I was on a panel called Trolls, to feed them or not to feed them. And it was hosted by J. Walter Thompson, SF BART, which is a rail system in San Francisco, and an actual troll, which was really cool. And the biggest takeaway from there, because I could spend hours speaking about what I learned at that point, but the biggest takeaway I thought was use trolls to launch your message. Now, that doesn't mean engage in every troll that's on your page. They're obviously some of them are really malicious and they're just trying to inflame something, but use it as a target of opportunity. And so when I took that back, and the very first thing, obviously, if you've been paying attention to the news, the Marines are dealing with the Marines United issue, and so this is the very first thing that I could implement. We engage with our audience a lot, but not really with the trolls. We kind of ignore them. We don't delete them unless it's really bad, and that's very rare. But we don't necessarily engage with them either. And they're a great avenue of delivering your message, your command message, if you do it smartly. So if you look up here, there's a tweet that we posted, Marine Minute, which is produced at DMA. It's a show that comes out. It's a minute update that comes out every 2 days a week. And we posted, it's a message about a new innovation challenge that Training Command wants you to do. And the very first tweet that came up after we posted that was, here's a great idea, get women out of the Marines. And so obviously the guy's trolling, all right, but he had, I think, 3,000, 4,000 followers. So I ran to my media officers. I was like, hey, what do you think? Here's the message. I just want to retweet it real quick. And like, yeah, go for it. Because obviously Marines United is a very sticky subject. And this isn't like a formulated message. I didn't pull it from the PAG. All right, it's just, it's conversational. And we re-engaged with that troll. And if you look, I mean, he's got 3 likes and 2 retweets, and we got 80 likes and 25 retweets off of just a response. So I guess going to South by Southwest, the biggest takeaway was using them as targets of opportunity, not just ignoring them, because they have a voice. And if you acknowledge that and use that as a target of opportunity, good things can happen. All right, so this, I apologize, because once you see this, you're not going to unsee it. So video. Who here is into the video creation realm, or they post a lot of videos to their social media? Well, video is king, by the way, if you haven't figured that out yet. 100 million hours of video on Facebook every day. Try to wrap your hand around that. I can't even. But here's the thing that I took away. The biggest thing was vertical video. Now, I know some of my really enthusiastic video creators would cringe at that thought. Would be like, oh no, oh heck no. But, I'm not saying it, but New York Times is saying it. Square videos are getting more views, and Vice is even going so far to say horizontal video is dead. So, as soon as I got that information, this is one of the things we immediately implemented, just to test it out. And I don't have the analytics from our page with me, but it seems to be doing really well. And it makes sense. Look, this is a snapshot of my phone. Look at the difference. I think that's the best explanation you can have for yourself. Is it fills the frame on the mobile device. You don't need to click and rotate. And I'm lazy. I don't even click and rotate anymore. I can do more than 20 pull-ups, and I don't even want to rotate the phone anymore. How lazy is that? So we took back and we started implementing vertical video. Now have you all seen the new Marines commercial? Oh, you should watch it. It's on our Facebook page, by the way. It's really cool. So Baltimore Marines, which is run by Sergeant Brian Nygaard, he is the one that took the official commercial and cropped it for mobile. His page is 10,000 tops. It's a local page. Baltimore Marines' recruiting page. That thing has over 10,000 views on his page, right? Not to throw Marine Corps recruiting under the bus, because I'm sure this thing will grow, but they have 4.5 something million followers. They had 170,000 views. Now you're saying, 10,000, 170,000 views. Now I'm not going to do math in public, but if you have 10,000 followers and 10,000 views, or if you have 4.5 million followers and 170,000 views, there's a difference. Again, I'm not going to do the math in public. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. I thought this was really good advice too. Post short videos in the morning and longer videos at night. Now, who would have thought? Who would have thought of that? But it makes sense. In the morning, we're on a rush. We're on the train or getting ready for work. We're just scrolling through our feeds. I need something quick, as much information as possible. But at night, when we're lying in our beds or getting ready or just relaxing for the day, we have more attention. We generally want to pay attention to longer videos. I thought that was a really cool takeaway and something that we're experimenting with as well. And I know everyone says short videos, but those short videos are good. Those can go viral. We all know that. They're for, our attention spans are really short nowadays. But Vox is saying that, hey, the longer videos is what keeps people coming back to you. Now, I'm not saying like 60-minute documentaries, but the 3 to 4 minute well put together pieces is what keeps your audience coming back. So I thought that was really, really sound advice. Let's see, I wrote some other notes down here. Yeah, make sure people know what they're going to see. You don't have to tease them all the time. You create videos to match. I think I've said this before, but if you're making videos or making product, make sure you're matching the platform that it's on. So with Facebook, we would try to do a 1-by-1 or crop for Facebook or Instagram, but not on YouTube. We'll post that full frame or full frame on YouTube, and we won't upload to DiVids. I know Staff Sergeant Schmidt, who's our Marine representative at DiVids, would kill me if we started uploading vertical video to DiVids. So it's not something we do. But that goes back to when you're creating content. If you're creating this, if you know that you're going to go into it, cropping it for mobile, you got to think like a shooter on the fly and be like, okay, is everything, the center of focus, is that going to fit my frame? So there's things to think about, not just, can't really just pull a video and crop it. Sometimes that's not going to work. Okay, live. Who spoke about live already in this workshop? I'm sure it's been mentioned a dozen times. In fact, this is live right now, which is meta, of course. That's really cool. I'm talking about Facebook Live, and I'm being shot live. Anyways, this is the biggest thing that everyone kept highlighting. Like, right now, it's live, live, live. Everything is live. That's the best thing on social media right now, is live content. And it's true. You can't, that's why they like it, because you can't spin live video. It's unedited. It's authentic. It makes people feel like they're really there. And you don't need to, and what I've learned with shooting live video and with the Marines is it doesn't need to be some huge event to be live. It can be something as basic as a rifle range. But you're allowing your audience, who not normally doesn't have that experience, you're allowing them to have that experience. And obviously you're taking some risk if you're shooting a live fire event, but it's genuine, it's authentic. And Snapchat. Is anybody on Snapchat? Cool. All right. My Lance Corporal Molly Hampton, she was 20 years old when she helped launch the official Marine Corps Snapchat account. She went up to Snapchat and talked to them and rolled out a plan of action and showed them exactly what we planned to use it for. It was a really cool experience to see that, to see how this young Marine have passion and take Snapchat and run with it. And so that's another live capability that people love to see. And we use Snapchat for behind-the-scenes storytelling. It's really effective. But the thing is, the quality doesn't have to be, you don't have to be crazy with it. It's vertical video, it's vertical snaps. You don't have to overthink this stuff. People on social media expect a different type of quality. So, and with live video, you can go straight from your mobile, or you can set up a live truck with a bunch of cameras that's going on right now and shoot something more professional. But live is where it's at. And then just think about video in itself. If you are an editor of video, you know these things take a long time to create, although your bosses sometimes don't think so. Hey, I want a video, put it out tomorrow. But they take time. They can take up to a week, and a week is, in the social media spectrum, is way too late. It's too old. So if there's an opportunity to shoot it live, why not? And to really give you a sense of how important Snapchat is, New York Times made a plug while we were there that they're hiring Snapchat reporters, Snapchat journalists. So we've been using it for a while. We like to continue. We want to give it out to the Marines in the fleet, not just to the PA Marines, or the Combat Camera Public Affairs Marines, or the communicators, I should say. But we want to give it to the actual Marine doing the job, and just have them snap a day in the life. So if that's my plug for Snapchat, obviously Instagram Live, you can do the same thing, I think, on Facebook now. Facebook has stole some Snapchat algorithms or whatever. So now you can do it on Facebook, which is good, I guess. Everything. There's a lot of apps, and now they're all converging into one, which is easier for us, I guess. And that was quick. It was down and dirty, and that was my presentation. So if you have any questions, I'm open to them now. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do the Marines have a guide that we could look at for potential use to pull into some of our branches that we're using?
A guide, like
a social media guide for digital engagement?
We do. It's actually being updated right now. There is an older version online on marines.mil, but it's being updated as I speak for various reasons. I also ask you, follow our page, see what we do. And if you really have a question and you want to answer it in email, our email is simple. It's usmcsocialmedia@gmail.com. So
we have a Facebook question.
Okay.
Can you compare your South by Southwest experience to the Dinfos social media conference that we're having right now, and give us any pointers on how we can improve our own workshops for the DoD and federal agencies?
Did you type that question yourself? No, honestly, it was a huge conference. There was a bunch of hotels that you had to scramble to get to, but at the end of the day, it was chairs and a panel speaking. And I think this is an easy recipe, and I think it's a successful recipe, sharing knowledge. So, no, I mean, if you want to start bringing in some concerts and some never-before-seen films, and have extravagant parties at the end of the night, that might be a way. But I think this is great. This is excellent for what it is. Sir.
Hello, Gunny. Thanks for sharing. This is not about South by Southwest. I was wondering if you could talk more about something I think the flagship page does really well is you have all these units, and I think it's relevant to a lot of people. You have all these units underneath your flagship page. And I know, can you explain a little bit, talk in detail a little bit how that coordination goes up when you're doing Moto Mondays, when you're doing some of that micro content, and how you spread the love to the smaller pages that help amplify that intrinsic narrative that you guys run?
Right. Okay. Great question. I'll tell you what, it's not easy. It's challenging. But we do like to coordinate with the units. And basically what we do is we share their content in order to help boost their followers. But if their intent is, no, we don't really care about boosting our followers, we just care about this message getting out, then we might package it and download it ourselves and post it organically to our page. But now Facebook allows for a cross-posting feature, which is really cool, and it makes it so that if your subordinate pages upload a video and say allow cross-post, then our main page can see that cross-post, turn it on, and that video looks like it's been posted organically. So that's a really cool, neat feature that we do. The communication aspect, it's just simply reaching out to the chiefs, the people that run the shop, and say, hey, what do you need? What can we provide for you? And I think at the end of the day, though, quality of content is king. All right, so the content's got to be there. It's got to match the brand. Unfortunately, there's just some stuff that we can't. We're just not going to post on the flagship site if it doesn't meet, or we're QCing it if it doesn't meet that quality. But we want to, we'll reach out and we'll help train and we'll help shape a message if we need to. Does that answer your question? All right.
I think you just kind of answered some of it.
Okay.
With your quality is king portion, but the question is, how are you choosing between like GIFs versus other snackable content, the different types of snackable content? What's the process of choosing between the types?
Yeah. So again, it's got to be good. It's got to be quality. Maybe it's got to be relevant. It's got to be awesome. And Marines, we like stuff blowing up, so that's a good indicator we're going to share it. But yeah, I think that it all just boils down to, is it good? Is it something that I want to consume myself? And so we have outstanding talent out there, and Marines doing outstanding things. And if at any time we can highlight that, we try to. And we're limited, obviously. We limit our posts on Facebook. We generally just do 2 posts a day, so that's a very tight window to get into. But I guess the biggest thing is there rich storytelling? Is it quality? Is the video good? Does everything sound great? That's one of the main factors of deciding what goes on our flagship sites. Sir.
Gunnery Sergeant. My name's Wayne Svoboda. I'm a college professor up in New York City at the CUNY City University Graduate School of Journalism. Awesome. And I'm really intrigued by what you said about your awesome young team. And you mentioned this woman, Leslie, I think was her name, the 20-year-old that did this.
Lance Corporal Molly Hampton.
Monahan? Okay.
Molly,
sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
So my question is a little bit stepping back, but what's the career path that somebody joins the Marines and ends up doing what you guys do as opposed to, is deployed someplace with a rifle or whatever? How does that happen? I know this Molly went to Paris Island because all the women Marines do, but then what happened, and anybody else, these awesome 20-year-olds?
That's a challenge I deal with on a daily basis. Now, I really enjoy getting young, fresh talent up into the Pentagon, but it's almost detrimental to them because they're talking about the Marine Corps, yet maybe they haven't experienced what the Marine Corps is about, the amphibious nature, those operations, those exercises, those deployments. So it's a challenge, but I tell them, I motivate them, I say, look, when you leave the Pentagon, your vision is a broader vision. You'll have many more doors open to you. And if I grab someone from the fleet, they have more of a tighter vision of operations, stuff like that. Now I have to bring them up and show them the broader spectrum of what we do. So it's a challenge. It's a balancing challenge. But what we do is every time we get an opportunity to plus up a unit to help support them, I try to get the young Marines out the door and give them the experience that they need. So then they come back, they get a little bit more flavor of the Marine Corps, because it's the Pentagon. They very rarely get to see the sun, so got to get them out the door. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So 10 years ago at South by Southwest, that's where Twitter really blew up. Were there any new platforms or new uses for old platforms that you saw that you could share with us out there?
Yeah, I was just getting into the Instagram Live, Facebook with the new Snapchat. I'll tell you what, we were all interested, and there's some people like BBC that brought in the research and development team and were talking about these new trends. Gary Vaynerchuk was trying to guess, but I guess we all are on the same ship going forward, but we don't know what the destination is. I don't think I got anyone to really, come up with, hey, this is the next greatest app. There's entrepreneurs in that crowd that were creating it, and we're asking questions about the next greatest thing. But I don't have any additional, other than pay attention to platforms because they're updating that thing constantly. Like if anyone says, hey, the Facebook algorithm does this, right? The Facebook algorithm does that. They don't know. No one knows. Engineers probably don't even know, and they work on the thing. So, ma'am.
As part of DINFOS and the curriculum development, we're working on incorporating social media within our instruction. So that means our instructors have to be up on social media so we can teach our students and kind of learn from them. Some of the things that you got from South by Southwest and what you're doing with the Marine Corps, what's the best way that you can recommend to keep, like at an instructor level, to keep everybody up to date and kind of a best practice overall rather than looking at a specific platform, just that overall awareness of how to keep engaged with our instructors and our students to maintain that relevancy as we move forward?
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. You have to just be entirely invested in social media, and it's kind of overwhelming, but you have to be. I can't just go to my Marines and say, hey, I don't Snapchat. Don't Snapchat with me. I don't Snapchat. You can't do that. So as soon as Snapchat was a thing, I downloaded it and gave it to my kids so they could teach me, and then I learned it, and now I use it, and that's the only way I know how to keep good at our practice at using these is to use the platforms, is like use them daily, and then read articles about what's coming up and what's new and what's trending. You just got to be totally invested in it. Does that answer your question, ma'am? Sir.
What are some of the features of Snapchat that you all use, and has it been successful in gaining followers?
Yeah, so we use the generic form of Snapchat. I know that you could probably pay and get some really cool features to it, but we just use it with, we'll put filters on it, we'll put emojis, we'll make it funny, but we don't go crazy with it. We don't use the face filters when we're interviewing like high-ranking officials. But I use the face filters with my kids, so we use Snapchat in its basic form, but we use 10 seconds to tell a story, and we just keep building on that story, just like the inverted pyramid taught at Dinfos. Give them the good stuff up front, and then narrow the facts down to the least important. But we tell an overall story with Snapchat, 10 seconds at a time. I hope Mr. Fayloga is watching this live and correcting any of the misinformation that I'm providing.
Lance Corporal Molly Hampton is watching.
Oh, well, good. I plugged her a couple of times. That's good. Yeah, is there any more questions? Well, that's all I have. I appreciate your attention today. Again, I hope you just take back something from this presentation. And the government sent me to South by Southwest. I hope it was a good investment. So, thanks.